Welcome back, everybody, to Villainy and Tea. Normally, we wouldn't even really touch a topic this, I guess, divisive, you could say. We like to keep it peace, love, and harmony around here. But I think we can all agree that it was ridiculous. And I'm talking about the whole back-to-school fiasco here in Louisville, Kentucky with JCPS and everything. So stay tuned, and we'll talk about it in just a minute. So, yeah, if you live in Louisville, Kentucky, and you haven't heard, there were kids who didn't get home till like 10 o'clock, first day of school.
It was a disaster.
That's wild. That's wild to me. As a parent, my daughter's not in school yet, but I can't imagine. I cannot imagine.
Yeah, kids were just like getting dropped off like at random stops and stuff. Like it was not well planned.
It's crazy. So I guess we'll get into some of the actual news articles of, you know, what the news has reported. Because, I mean, we don't have firsthand knowledge, but, I mean, they've covered quite a bit. And it's just crazy. And it's, like we kind of said, it's ridiculous and unacceptable. I don't know what I would do if I just didn't know where my daughter was for however long. So, yeah, last JCPS student gets dropped off at 9:58 p.m. JCPS issues late night apology. And this is from WHAS 11. And we're recording this on August 14th. This was last Wednesday, which was the first day of school. I mean, I don't even, like, what do you say? You know? The one person said the tracker listed their daughter's drop-off time as 2:45, and she was dropped off around 8:15 p.m. So 6 hours on the bus. It's just kind of wild.
And kids, have to use the restroom. They're hungry. They just had a full day at work at school.
Yeah, I mean, any number of things that we as adults can take care of on our own, but children don't have that option.
On the first day of school, I remember my first day of school, I barely knew where I was at,
Right. You don't even know how to get around the school if you're new to the school, let alone, actually like the bus routes and then things like that. That's crazy, man. I haven't seen anything otherwise, but I'm glad all the students did make it home okay, because I haven't seen anything otherwise. So that's good to hear. But this next article talking about UPS offering to help, because from my understanding, they hired a company, like an IT company out of the Boston area, Massachusetts. Obviously that did not go as planned. And, we have another article talking about with a quote saying like why the superintendent kind of thinks it happened, but we'll save that for a second, because before that he offered.
First and foremost, I want to take this opportunity to apologize for last night. First, I want to apologize to our students. I know many of you had to wait on buses or wait in your school for several hours, and I truly apologize for that. I know how unnerving and unsettling that must have been for even our youngest students, but all of our students, and we truly apologize to you. I apologize to our families, our parents.
We're sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry. Sorry.
Sorry. So, I mean, what can you really do from there? It's, I don't know. wild.
I mean, you don't plan. I mean, you got to plan for things like that. You got to parents. Parents aren't always going to be able to, be at the bus stop on time.
Well, yeah, and I mean, sorry to interrupt you, but that's this quote. He said, "The company said it is X amount of minutes from this stop to the next, but what's not built in is what happens if a parent's not at the stop and the bus driver has to wait 10 minutes or drive back to the school at some point. So those things aren't built in." Well, these aren't new things. And I mean, from what we looked up, other counties surrounding us didn't have an issue. And I understand that Jefferson County is larger, but it's still when we're talking about people's children, it escalates the entire concept, right? And that's really the main reason we're even touching on it, because normally we wouldn't really touch on anything like this, but talking about people's kids,
it definitely should have been better planned. That's the thing that just doesn't make sense, especially now that you have UPS, offering logistics.
Exactly.
For free, why would,
and it was mentioned last week that there was a meeting set. I don't know what that really means, but I mean, we do know that the whole fiasco ended in school being canceled Thursday and Friday because they had no plan to deal with it. And, I don't know.
which you do. I would rather them cancel than have another
of course.
another one, but
Of course.
another day like that. But it's not ideal. One thing I do have to say is during the cancellation so far, I have seen a lot more school buses in the last week. Well, since the closures, I've seen a lot more school buses than I have the whole summer.
Kind of actually practicing routes and things, hopefully.
So, hopefully that means that there will be, some improvement.
Yeah. I mean, I hope we see it. And, like I said, I mean, my kid isn't school age yet, but I can't imagine what I would do if she was. That's just a scary concept. Hopefully UPS can help them if they actually do meet, or the company steps up and does something to fix things. I don't know. I haven't seen anything exactly of what's going to happen, but yeah, I mean, from this article, for the first time in a while, JCPS has had more bus drivers than the bus routes it operates. So those extra buses were supposed to help prevent kids from getting home late, and didn't really work like that. And I mean, according to this article, it was $250,000 for those routes, and that's no small fee.
So one thing they did prepare on, they had the bus drivers. They had enough bus drivers.
Yeah.
They had enough buses.
Yeah, and I mean, we're not trying to lay fault on anyone in particular. Definitely not teachers or anyone. It's definitely not their fault, but it's just it's something that happened, and we hope it doesn't happen again, because it's kind of crazy,
Yeah, it's it affects everything. People had to call in to work that day, because so that might be something else to think about, is maybe some at home, what is it, NTI?
Oh yeah, what they were doing,
right,
yeah.
So things like that to kind of plan ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, short term, they just kind of canceled school this week too, from what we're seeing from this article, to try to, I guess, try to plan things out a little better and get things where they need to be. From what this is saying, they're doing staggered start dates, and elementary and middle school students will return Friday, and high school students will return on Monday. So
So like if you're in high school, you're just partying from now till then.
Yeah. It says that even the schools that have multi-level schools, like depending on their grades, I guess it still follows the same thing. So like more middle will return Friday, more high returns Monday. So it follows that same concept. But yeah, I don't know. Here it does say that some short-term actions they plan to take is to have vans and drivers available to take elementary students home or back to school when they don't have an adult waiting at a stop. The superintendent said this will allow drivers to continue their routes without having to return to the original school. Have an extra bus or van at depots to take home students on late arriving buses so all other depot buses can continue their routes without waiting for one or two final buses to arrive. Have an additional JCPS staff member with a cell phone and GPS on board buses with the longest, most challenging routes to help with directions and communicate with schools and bus compounds when there are delays. Ensure every child is correctly tagged for their school and morning, afternoon buses, which...
So they putting barcodes on them?
I don't think that's quite what they mean, but
it's
maybe
cool.
something
Like,
similar, yeah. Which that was the first thing I said, like when it came up at work. I was like, UPS offered just give every kid a barcode and let's just integrate. Package received, package delivered.
it'll get there.
And then the last point they have is to reduce the length of routes with lots of stops, starting with afternoon runs. So they have plans in place, which is good. It's always good to hear. Like, I'd be a lot more concerned if they didn't have a plan of action. You know what I'm saying? But it's scary. With a kid who's going to be in this system next year, it makes you question like putting your kid on the bus, you know? Like, you don't even want to deal with that. So depending on how close she is, I don't know what school she ends up in. It's
just it sucks because like everyone either there's people who are just starting school this year who never went to school before. There's younger kids starting out.
Exactly.
But then there's the kids that have experienced like COVID and stuff to where they haven't had a normal school experience, and it's just we don't want this to be another year of that. So hopefully they do get together quickly. So.
And like I said, they have a plan, and at least they have a plan. You've heard me say it a million times, and it doesn't hurt to share with the world. Don't just present a problem, present a solution. And they came forward with solutions. And I think, do we know if they're the best solutions? No, we don't know. But they're trying. They have a plan. They have an idea. So we'll see what happens, I guess. I mean, we're kind of on it pretty quick. It's just the Monday following all that. So,
we'll definitely do a follow-up episode, and hopefully, it's good news.
Yeah, I mean, elementary and middle will go back Friday, and we should have a show coming out Saturday, a normal Ville updates episode. This was kind of an unplanned one, but we got our normal Ville updates coming out Saturday, I think. So,
and until then, there are a lot of resources for food and things like that, right? There are some.
Yeah, actually, JCPS posted on their X account, Twitter account, whatever it's called these days, and they got free meals available to any child age 18 or younger while school is closed due to transportation issues. So that's
awesome. I mean, at least they're doing something. They are doing something to make sure people aren't hungry and stuff.
Yep, that's good of them. And again, going back to the whole thing, like they they don't have a perfect solution for everything right now, but they're working on it, and it's always good to at least see initiative. Give credit where credit's due.
Definitely.
So, I guess in the meantime, you can probably follow their Twitter, Facebook, whatever, for any immediate updates. And then we will try to recap, I guess, how things continue throughout the week on Saturday, and see how things fare on Friday for the elementary and middle school kids. And hopefully that goes well, and then hopefully it goes well for high schoolers on Monday.
Yeah, and then in like 2 weeks they'll be back out again for fall break.
You know what? They deserve it.
Right.
I'm sure it's been weird for them too. You remember being a kid on like when it starts snowing, it's like, oh, am I out of school? Do I got school? Am I out of school? You know? It's
Right.
It's not easy for them either. So yeah, I guess with that we'll just wrap it up unless you have anything else.
Nope. Hopefully they just get it together soon.
Yep. Hopefully they get it all figured out. Best of luck to all of the kids, all the students, all the parents out there going through it. I know it's not easy, and hopefully they get it figured out soon. And we'll talk to you next time.